Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm still doing our social media, literally. If you see us on Twitter, it's me right now. Oh my goodness gracious, it takes forever every week. And I'm going to complain about it every week. So, because I have to say, I'm like, let's move it up to a minute. We actually didn't create our countdown. So, like, that's an extra step for Katie and I to go and like ask the person who created it. Can you add an extra 30 seconds on, please? Because we have no idea what we're doing. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us. Welcome to the Real Football Fans in New Jersey. This is episode 192. We are chipping away until episode 200. As you can see across our platforms, we are in the official countdown up until episode 200. We are so excited for that moment. We're thinking it's definitely going to be around the April timeframe. So at the end of this month, early March, Katie and I have to put our heads together and start planning, a great event, because we want it to be like our 100th episode. We want it to be live. We want it to be in person, but we obviously want to make sure that everyone is safe, everyone is healthy, and that we just have a really, really fun time. So don't worry. Planning is going to start soon, and we would love all of our fans to be there, whether it's in person or it's going to be a live show. So whether you have to tune in virtually or be there in person, but I am so excited for that. As I am excited for tonight's episode, because it is Super Bowl week.
So crazy. I cannot believe the season flew right by.
It really has. Like, we've just been like going week after week. Like, we're like the Energizer Bunny. Just talk like, listen, I understand these football players are going week after week, but we're going week after week too, people. So it's definitely a busy time, but we have made it. It is the Super Bowl, and we are here. So we have a lot of good Super Bowl stuff lined up for you guys. We have a lot of other content too, so make sure you're sticking around for the entire episode. I do see a ton of people already tuning in on Twitter. Thank you guys so much. If you want to engage with us on Twitter, we recommend going over to YouTube or Facebook or just reply to our tweet directly, and I'll be able to see it on my phone. But let's go ahead and get started. So we asked you guys 3 poll questions this week, and as always, you answered phenomenally. So many of you answered on Instagram and Twitter, so thank you for that. So let's just cut to the chase here. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl? And it's Super Bowl 60.
No, 56.
56. I don't know why I thought it was 60, but I'm just going to, so it's
56.
Super Bowl 56. Okay, people. So don't listen to me. I'm telling people it's Super Bowl 60 out there. I'm way ahead of my time.
I had to Google the Roman numerals today to find out which one we were on. I'm not good with that stuff. So
I think I've been pretty set on the LVI. Like I that's ingrained in my head, but like I have just no idea what that is. I used to pride myself on Roman numerals. We had a Roman numeral clock in my house. My parents still have it. And I was like, I knew it. And now I'm like, I have no idea what any of these numbers mean. So, but obviously we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl. So 58% of you went with Cincinnati on this one. Katie and I are not revealing our picks right now. We will reveal our picks to you shortly. But hey, I'm loving that we're going into this weekend with our audience, not fully skewed to one side. It's not 50-50 directly, but I do like this percentage for sure.
Yeah, and I honestly, I was back and forth today. I waited till last minute to make my pick and to really dive into the game and look at everything. And there is a really good NFL.com article that came out today. I want to say it was probably around 30 different analysts and contributors and writers from NFL.com that gave their winners, their score predictions, and their MVPs. And I'm telling you, you look at this article and it's very, very split. I think I
like that.
Thing from, I think it was CBS, where they had 29 of their people pick one team and 23 of them pick another. I don't know what the line is in Vegas or anything like that, or who's the favorite, but I feel like this is a really split pick on this game. So I'm not surprised that our viewers that voted on this were so almost dead even.
Yeah, and I've been seeing that a lot, and it really definitely does make me happy. It definitely makes me optimistic going into excuse me, going into Sunday. But yeah, so we do have a comment on YouTube, no horse in the race, believe it's anyone's game. Obviously, Katie and I don't have a yeah, so it's funny. So Eli is actually one of our fans on the Twitter. He's a Giants fan, so go Giants. And yeah, we definitely agree. No horse in the race, but it definitely truly is anyone's game. And I think that's the most exciting thing going into Sunday.
We got a 4 seed versus a 4 seed.
Let's do it.
Kind of unexpected to see two of these teams land and face each other in the Super Bowl. And I like it. There might be a slight favorite here or there, but I just don't feel like there's like a true, this isn't a David Goliath. There isn't like a true underdog in this. You can make arguments for both teams.
Even in the game at SoFi Stadium isn't home field advantage. Like, I love that. Like, it's not at all for the Rams. Like,
it's whoever the hell has really deep pockets and
who has $8,000. Like, literally, who has $8,000 to sit in the nosebleeds. Yeah. Like, that's whose game it is, to be honest.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we have the NFL awards tomorrow night. So we're asking you guys, who do you think will win the MVP award tomorrow? Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? 61% of you went with Tom Brady. Katie, who did you pick on this one?
Well, we talked about this last week.
Did.
Last week, our game was to give our predictions for the award winners. I went with Tom Brady. He was, and I said it last week, I'll say it again. He was my pick before I even knew in a million years that he was planning on retiring.
Right.
I know a lot of people might have switched their picks to Brady now that he is retiring, saying that the NFL is going to favor giving it to him. I just feel as though his stats, I'm more impressed with his stats over Aaron Rodgers. He's been my pick this entire time, so that's who I went with.
Yeah, I went with Brady as well, and we spoke about it last week, and I did. And it was based off stats alone. It really was. I think probably people will sway their decision now that the retirement's out there. Mm-hmm. I do think, though, the awards, I think you're technically supposed to base it off, regular season. Yeah. But obviously, I don't think they can take his postseason retirement into play, but I'm sure, you can't really, it's like uncontrollable bias. So it's going to be in people's minds. So It kind of is what it is there. But yes, I went with Tom Brady as well.
Yep.
All righty. And we've seen a lot of old school episodes of each Housewives franchise on TV lately, as we always do. We love a good binge. So what old school episodes do you like to binge more? We're looking at New Jersey or New York, and 65% of you went with New Jersey. What'd you say?
Yeah, we talked about this on last week's show as well, because I had caught a huge old school New Jersey marathon. And I think originally I probably would have said New York, but sitting there and watching it that day, New Jersey, and binging it, and I found it fascinating. The storylines and the drama, especially within the drama of Teresa versus Melissa and everything with Joe Gorga and Joe Giudice. It was fascinating. I like the storylines and I like the drama. And honestly, some of the cast members, old school New Jersey people that are no longer there versus old school New York people like Kelly and Jill Zarin, Alex McCord. I don't miss those people, but watching Caroline and Kathy Wakili and Dina and Jacqueline, I like that group of people better. I would pick New Jersey on this one.
Yeah, so I actually went with New York here. While you definitely listed off cast members that I didn't particularly care about back then nor now, I think the biggest person is Bethany. I really liked Bethany's early storylines. I really liked seeing her
she was
rise
very
up.
Likable especially in the beginning season.
Yeah, I really liked older and I love Bethany now. I really liked her in her later seasons too.
But she was definitely the most likable in the beginning.
Right. So I definitely, when I'm watching the episodes, I get a little bit more nostalgic, watching her in her prime, early on Housewives. So that's definitely why I'm going with New York on this one.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yep. So those are our poll questions. Thank you guys, as always, for participating. If you are watching live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter right now, and you have any questions, comments, please engage with us throughout the show. We love answering your questions. We love reading your comments out loud. So go ahead, keep them coming. Let's keep moving.
Let's do it. So we got big stories of the week in the world of football, and I have to say, because we're going to talk about the update on NFL hirings. A lot of head coaches have now been hired. I think, and we would have to look up stats on this. I feel like this offseason had the most head coaching vacancies that I've seen in a really long time.
Well, I know when we got Joe Judge 2 years ago, there was a decent amount open. I think that it's definitely more this time, or maybe it was just even honestly.
I think we have 9, and that feels like a lot.
It does, yeah.
So every time when I feel like, okay, we're all done, like everybody's been hired, and then just
wrong,
we have a lot to announce, and you like forget that those spots needed to be filled. So whether people retired or people were fired or whatever, we still have more to report. So New Orleans, speaking of retiring, obviously Sean Payton is no longer in New Orleans, stepping away from the team. They hired their defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, which was kind of expected. Those were the rumors and rumblings. And it just makes sense. Like, if you do have a coordinator for your team and you like them and they have the ability to be a solid head coach and you can keep within the organization, I think that's probably always your first pick and your first bet.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I think, a lot of what I read was that they wanted to like maintain the culture that they have, in New Orleans. So bringing up someone that's already getting along with the guys out there. For me, though, the New Orleans Saints are kind of in a rebuild mode. Quarterback's definitely a question. You have guys like Michael Thomas who sat out the entire year. Let's not even talk about what happened to Alvin Kamara after the Pro Bowl. Their team is very, and I think this decision was made. That's not a factor, but now it is a factor. That team is totally in rebuild mode. And that's great that one of your coordinators had a great relationship with your players, but who knows if these players are going to be around for the 2022 season? Who are the new guys you're bringing in the 2022 season? Because you do need to fill some areas, whether it's in the draft or free agency. So to me, I actually don't like this decision. I don't like this move from New Orleans. Did they think Sean Payton was going to make this decision? Maybe not. Maybe this did come to a shock to them. So maybe they didn't want to put the work in and, be last in line when hiring a new head coach. So let's just hire internally for the time being. Maybe that shock factor got to them, but I really do disagree with this head coach move for them.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, you gave your 2 cents. Once we announce who these new head coaches are for these last couple teams filling their spots, CBS actually on Monday gave us a great article where they gave letter grades for each of these hirings, which I found very fascinating to get the opinions. So we'll get into that in a little bit.
Not just my opinion, people.
The Houston Texans, they also hired their defensive coordinator in Lovie Smith. So keeping within the organization, they are definitely a mess of a franchise. So yeah, to the point you just made about Dennis Allen, this could have been something that Houston could have used, bringing somebody from outside the organization to shake things up, because what's happening right now is definitely not working. Yeah. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they hired former Philadelphia head coach Doug Peterson. I'm okay with this one. I feel like he's a good offensive-minded coach and somebody who works really well with quarterbacks. So obviously you've got young Trevor Lawrence over there. I think that could be a nice pairing potentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think I definitely need to see. No, you're fine. I think it was so funny. When we heard the potential rumblings, Doug Peterson to the Giants, it was no. Now that it's in Jacksonville, you're well, it's not that bad. But it's true. I think that you're absolutely correct. I think, Trevor Lawrence going into his second season is a lot different than Daniel Jones going into, his third, and kind of making a really this is I know last year was make it or break it, but it's is he going to his third or fourth? Why am I blanking on this? There's too many years.
Trevor Lawrence going into his.
I made the comparison to Daniel Jones.
Daniel. He'll be going into his fourth.
So 4. Okay, wow. See the time, people. It just goes by. I said third. But so yeah. So That to me, so it's definitely a little different. So probably like when people are like, we're Doug Peterson, we're like, no. But yeah, I don't think it was like a random hire for Jacksonville. I think that maybe they were a little late with a couple of other people on the list. And they made it, I think it'll be a lot better than Urban Meyer. I can say that confidently. So
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens there. In Miami, also, we going down to the state of Florida. In Miami, they hired San Fran's offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel, a young guy. You know, that's always a pretty popular theme amongst these coaching hires season after season is kind of trying to land the next Sean McVay, you know, trying to land the next Kyle Shanahan, who's in San Francisco. So now you've got somebody who was underneath Shanahan in that program, in a winning program. He's going to be tested. He's a young guy. It's going to be one of those things where it's like you want to roll the dice and see what these young guys got. Who's going to be the next young little genius bringing you to the postseason.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm over that like whole like young guy mentality.
I'm kind of over it too, but I also have mixed feelings about hiring head coaches who have previously been head coaches before. So if I'm going to make an argument of why I like it,
okay,
you have experience as a head coach. That's first and foremost. I mean, that's the biggest one. But I also get wary about hiring somebody who has been a head coach before, because that means that they've been fired before. They have been unsuccessful at it, or, you know, and maybe that was just situational, which team they were with and the talent they had on their roster, et cetera, et cetera. But I kind of like, and this goes for the New York Giants in hiring Brian Daboll, like I kind of like picking a really good coordinator, whether it's a D coordinator or an offensive coordinator. To me, I would rather hire somebody like that rather than hire somebody who was formerly like a former head coach who failed at their job and was fired. So
Well, I think the most interesting one is like when obviously everyone doesn't start as a head coach, but someone who was a head coach goes back to coordinator is now getting hired as a head coach.
Yeah.
That is always interesting to me because clearly, and I'll bring up Todd Bowles as an example. So like a lot of people were talking about like him getting, you know, like people talking to him maybe like this past season, like, and I remember like someone saying like, this was months ago too. This was not recent. It was like mid-season, like, oh, like, you know, Todd Bowles deserves a chance at a head coach. I'm like, you know what? He had it in New York with the Jets, like, and now he's a coordinator. So you want to pull him back out of it. Like, I just like that, like, always like kind of makes me like giggle, like the head coach, the coordinator to back to head coach. Like, you got to look at it a little bit more, but you're right. Like with someone losing the head coaching position, not having really anything, then you want to go after them again. Like I 100% agree with that. So, but then the coordinator to head coach is always iffy, but you're not just born a head coach. It has to start somewhere. So,
right. And you know how I said, like rolling the dice on a young guy, that's to me part of like hiring somebody who's never been a head coach before. Anybody that's never been a head coach before, you are rolling the dice, but I'd rather roll the dice like on a top offensive or defensive coordinator in the league who's been really successful, rather than somebody who's been fired at their job before. So, and then last but not least, Minnesota Vikings, they hired Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell. So yeah, we got a lot of these, all of these minus Doug Peterson are either defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators, getting a shot at the head coaching position. So, like I said, on Monday, CBS, they give out grades for the new head coaching hirings. We kind of just gave our thoughts and our input just now, but let's run it through. So Chicago's Matt Eberflus, C+. Denver's Nathaniel Hackett, B. This was the lowest grade we got. We got Houston's Lovie Smith, got a D.
Also, so
a former head coach who has been fired before.
Deserving of a D. I don't know what's going on in Houston, but like
it's always messy in Houston, isn't it?
Figure it out.
But this is a former head coach getting another crack at it. Jacksonville's Doug Peterson getting an A- grade, which was tied for the highest. Las Vegas's Josh McDaniels, C+.
Because they don't think he's going to actually take the job. That's why they gave him this.
Interesting.
That's why.
Miami's Mike McDaniel, B+. Minnesota's Kevin O'Connell, B+. New Orleans, Dennis Allen, CBS agrees with you, Kate, C+. And then last but not least, tied for the highest grade, New York Giants, Brian Daboll. So
I must say, no bias. I'm very I want to be excited, but I'm going to pull myself back. I'm very optimistic with what the Giants have done in the past couple of weeks. You know, I think Joe Schoen has come in and he's basically doing, I know he's a GM, but he's basically doing everything Joe Judge kind of promised us. You know, Joe Judge as a head coach promised us that he would put the right guys in place and, you know, really like put out these expectations and, you know, make us like turn us back into the New York franchise that we are. I'm not saying that, you know, tomorrow, the 2022 season is going to be like, you know, the best we've ever seen in our lives. But I like the strategic focus and what Joe Schoen is doing to where it's, here are the guys I'm bringing in. Here's everyone in your organization now that I'm letting go with unapologetically letting go, like saying like, listen, it's time to move on. So I think that I think 100% A- is great for Daboll. And I think they've been really just stacking around right now. So I'm not going to say like, yoo-hoo, I'm so excited. Maybe my Twitter tells you guys otherwise.
But what's interesting though, there's kind of like a theme to all of these hires by Joe Schoen so far in the New York Giants, and including the Giants hiring Joe Schoen, is they're all coming from winning teams. They're coming from the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens. Like, we're not picking people from struggling organizations right now. Like, everybody that they are grabbing is from winning organizations. Now, I'm not saying that's the key to success, but these are guys who are a part of winning football games. They're a part of that strategy. So that's an exciting thing.
But you can't just win easily in the NFL. So like it's a phenomenal point for you to make, because people always make, and I'll relate it to the argument where someone's always like, I would love for the last place team to play an Alabama. Say Alabama was number 1 in the country that year. I'm going to hold on to that. It's never going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars wouldn't lose to an Alabama team this year. They're not. The NFL is completely different, but that shows you just the stature. So it's not easy to win in the NFL. So if we're pulling in guys that actually know how to win or coming from teams that are winning, that's phenomenal. That's exciting. So I think it's a great point for you to make.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, again, it is Super Bowl weekend. We have been making picks since week 1, and we've been sharing them live and sharing them with you on social media. I think Katie has a winning record. I 100% do not. My picks are not.
I'm definitely going to let you guys know now that we're saying it. Like, we got the last game to pick, and I have kept track week by week. So I'm going to give you guys my percentage next week. Let you know how I did on the season.
Oh, I will. Okay, so I will. I have it all on file. I just have to keep track. I'm telling you, it's not good, people. I'm telling you, me, not good, not good. Katie's definitely.
I did okay.
All right, so we have one game. I don't even have to pull up my other screen. I don't have to follow along on a sheet to make sure like where we're matching on things. It's one game. It is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Los Angeles Rams. Katie, who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
I went back and forth on this, like I said earlier in the show, and we're definitely going to dive more into it with our game and give more analysis on it. But point blank, winning the Super Bowl this year, Super Bowl LVI, Super Bowl 56, I have the Los Angeles Rams.
It's funny because we had our Instagram like polls up, and I wasn't even thinking, and I voted on yours, and I was like, oh shoot, she's gonna know.
I voted for yours too, but I made sure to make my decision before I looked at my poll results, and I made my decision. Then I was like, okay, but I can say I knew without a doubt you were picking this team.
Well, that might give it away. If you guys are watching us week after week, you know I've been high on this team, and I'm going to go to the grave saying they are my second team in the NFL. And I honestly should be more excited than I am, but I'm not a bandwagoner, people, so I'm really not going to go out and buy like an AFC championship shirt.
No.
I'm not going to. But I am picking the Cincinnati Bengals to win Super Bowl 56, Super Bowl LVI. It is Bengals all the way. I've been, it's so great to really see what they've been doing. But it is anyone's game. So as much as I am so excited and thrilled to pick the Cincinnati Bengals, it's so exciting for them to just be in the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Yeah. It could go either way, and I'm okay with it going either way. We need to be a good game.
I'll be honest with you. It was kind of crappy, like watching the playoffs and like, making our picks and me wanting to be right, but like wanting the team that I picked to lose. Like if I'm like, I want to see them win, but I didn't pick them. So I'm going with my pick. Right. I can tell you that like I'm picking the Rams. I would love to see Joe Burrow and company win the Super Bowl.
Oh, what a story, honestly. And
I don't have anything against, I'd be happy for Matthew Stafford and those guys as well. Right. But I love what Joe Burrow is doing. And he's just a good kid and he's so fun to watch. And I would be pulling for them. And honestly, Cincinnati fans and the city of Cincinnati, because they've waited a long time for this. So.
Long time. Make it to the Super Bowl. Make it past the first round of the playoffs, people. It has been a long time, like you had said. But good for them. Good for the Rams. It's going to be – no one would have picked the Super Bowl. I guess if someone did pick this Super Bowl, they're probably a billionaire right now based off betting and odds and things like that. So
when you just picked it from the conference championship games, to pick it before the season even started. Yeah. I can't even wrap my head around that one.
Yeah, but that's why we keep our receipts. So if one of us did, we would have had it here.
Let's make like a crazy one next year and like just put like $5 on it.
All right. Let's do something crazy, people. We're not your sports gambling gals, but we'll give you something crazy to go after. Yes. But that's it, people. So we are split, which is great. Yeah. I do love when we are looking in two different directions. So we got me Bengals, Katie Rams. So we will see Sunday. We will actually be spending Super Bowl Sunday together. So we will see.
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. We're going to break it down more later on in our game. But first, we're going to talk about the big stories of the week in the world of housewives. This one is, obviously picked up by TMZ, all the crazy news outlets, because it is a crazy story. We are going to be talking about former Orange County housewife Elizabeth Vargas and some drama llama that went down, some serious drama llama with her ex-boyfriend. So this past week, security camera footage from inside Elizabeth's home showed her convicted felon ex-boyfriend, Ryan Garrity, threatening to kill her moments before a SWAT team arrived at the house. That's good. So Ryan showed up to her house with a gun. He had been trying to extort her over nude photos with threats that began at Christmas Eve. He demanded money from her. He also asked her to buy him a car. She refused to do both. So he shows up to the house, like we said, with a gun, threatening her. She called the police to report him for, this was before he showed up to the house. So she had called the police to report him for stalking her. Mm-hmm. And when he had discovered what she had done, that's when he went to the house with the gun and threatened to, quote unquote, you can hear it in the video, take her out. And he's basically like, I don't care. Like, I'll take you out. I'll kill everybody. I don't have nothing to live for. The SWAT team eventually got inside the house and brought her out to safety and arrested him. He has now been charged with a range of offenses, including extortion and 2 misdemeanor counts of possession of a controlled substance. So this is an absolutely crazy story. Kate, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, foremost, glad she's okay. Glad she's
right. Safe.
very scary thing that went down. And I think the videos are on TMZ and everything like that. So very serious and scary situation.
Yeah, I must say the pictures and the videos are absolutely terrifying. So I was, as we were prepping for the show, like, Katie and I were talking, and this was something I read. I was like up at 5 a.m. getting ready for Orange Theory. And like, I scroll through my phone, I always like open Twitter right away. And it was like a break because it was there in California. So it was like 3 hours, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning that this was like happening. It was happening at a wild time. And I'm like reading it and I'm like, oh my goodness. And like I read it like, she was on Orange County. I thought it was Emily Simpson at first. It's like I was like totally like confused because like she's got kids, she's got her husband. I was like, oh my god, like are they okay? But it ended up being Elizabeth Vargas, who was only on the one season. But the pictures and the video, they're absolutely terrifying because it is a guy in a house just threatening to kill you. And my biggest like advice to people is that like you know who you are, you know the people in your circle, you know things. Like if something is like the slightest bit off or like you're like you need to tell someone. Because look at her, she reported this to the police and someone still showed up at her house with a gun. Like when something's off, like in your life with other people, like you got to be open, you got to tell someone, you got to ask people if they're okay. Like your circle, the people. So like this to me is just absolutely terrifying to see someone that, and he's extorting her for money. And she comes from a lot of money. She went through a divorce where she got a ton of money. She makes money herself. And it was all, if you watched Orange County, it was all showed off. So even if this was an ex from 10 years ago, prior to her ex-husband, or maybe after her ex-husband, she has money. And that's the scary thing with these women that are going out on this show, that
mo money, mo problems. And this is why we've seen on all these franchises, like for the women putting their lives out there and flashing their money around, that people know you have. And it's like, it brings into question a lot of things about how are you getting your money, or people want to after you for your money, or people dating you or using you for your money.
Right.
It's obviously a recurring theme that we've seen across all the franchises.
Absolutely. And you can relate it to the NFL as well. We are a football housewives show. You see a lot of these rookies that, make big money when they're young ages. And then you see them do silly things, or they're in a hotel room when someone's filming. That person's not in your inner circle. Who's in your inner circle, like who you can trust. You have your 22-year-old football player now making millions of dollars. Like don't screw that up. Same thing with the housewives.
Keep your circle very, 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 very small.
And if you're introducing someone in, you got to give them like a trial period. You gotta pilot them, make sure that they're okay.
Like you can make the argument like that's hard too, because it's like at least single NFL players or these single housewives, like you can't blame them for wanting to go find love.
Absolutely not. Right.
Like damn, like you got to be careful with like when you do meet somebody who you can trust, because we've seen that time and time again on Housewives of just these women dating really shady guys. So
yeah. So scary situation, happy that she's okay. Everyone else involved is okay. But yeah, just like I said, my advice, you just gotta, if something's off, you feel something's off, just speak up.
Yeah. Whew, scary.
Spooky spooks. All righty. So we are going to play a game, but we're not at our game yet. We're still in Housewives. We're playing two games.
Housewives game.
We're playing two games.
It's been a hot minute.
It has been. And I do think we played this game last year. I think we did.
This is a brand. Well, we played this type of game before with other franchises.
Oh, okay. I thought we did.
This is a brand new quiz that came out just on Monday.
I thought it was. I thought we did when the franchise came out. So we're talking about Salt Lake City. So I thought something came out. I thought we did something similar to this when the franchise first started. But so on Monday, the tab.com put out a quiz to determine which member of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City you are. So we're going to go ahead and answer the questions that were on this quiz. So Katie and I already took the quiz. So we already know who we are. But we're going to.
An interesting question.
Yeah.
before you got your answer to this quiz, who do you feel like you're most like on this cast?
Well, I'm trying to like, I think like when I think about being like kind of like laid back and like not like these women are aggressive as shit, to be honest.
Yes, they are.
Like I want to be like Heather. Like I want to be her to where like she's very cool. Like she's, she's got her own company. Like good for you. Like you're a boss ass bitch. Love that. She really tries to pull away from a lot of the drama, but she also stands up for herself, like and her family and her decision to leave the Mormon church. So like she's strong. So like I want to be like her, but like maybe sometimes I could feel like I don't act like her, but yeah, but when I was answering the questions, it was so interesting. So I was like, who are they going to pair me as? So,
yeah, I would say I feel like maybe I would. And again, I feel like the most of the women on this franchise, I am very not much so because like you said, they're really crazy and really dramatic, everything like that. I would probably say I'm a little bit of a mix between Heather and Whitney. So
yeah.
We shall see what these quizzes thought of us. So.
Well, I must say that Whitney likes to dance on a pole, and I have never in my 30 years seen Katie ever do that. So I don't. I don't
that, but I like to think Whitney is more than just somebody who dances on poles.
I was gonna say I don't think that you embody her in that aspect.
Yeah, no.
Unless
I think she like loves to have fun. Like she's a very fun-loving girl.
100%.
Like that part of me is like
right, 100%. Not the pole thing. So I was gonna say, unless you've been hiding a secret from me from 30 years. So if that's the case, you've done a damn good job of hiding it from me. So alrighty, so let's go through the questions. I'm going to go through the questions and the responses, and then I'm going to ask you what your answer is, then I'll obviously have mine.
Okay.
So number 1, what is your drink of choice? Tequila, everything, white wine, rosé, vodka, or champagne?
I would say out of these options, I went with champagne.
Yes. We also probably should have like guessed for ourselves too.
We can guess. I would say that you definitely said white wine.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would have done shams for you too. So yes, I did go with white wine on this one.
All right.
Everything was aggressive. People,
I think we're able to guess this next one for each other.
I would hope so, because I do know Chris, my boyfriend, actually watches the show. So if I answer something differently, I might be spinning him, and he's my neighbor. So you might hear banging on the window if I answer something differently. But what is your relationship status? In a relationship, loved up, it's complicated, in a relationship but not exactly happy, or single and ready to mingle?
I would say we are both in a relationship, loved up.
Loved up. I've never heard of that phrase before. Loved up. So it's new. But yes, both in a relationship and lubed up.
Yes.
Alrighty. Where can you be found at a party? Getting the shots in, on the dance floor, showing everyone your moves, taking pics for Insta for my fire outfit, having an argument probably, or flirting with a new guy?
I think some of these are like a hard, like I can eliminate them for both of us.
Right.
And I feel like you're not really a shots person. I'm not a shots person.
Only when I'm really drunk.
Yeah, I'm going to say you're on the dance floor showing everyone your moves.
Yeah.
And that's what I went with too. Like I like to get out there. Not that I'm a great dancer.
Oh, I'm not.
I don't give a shit. Like I
horrendous
just like
dancer. Honestly, like, and I feel like probably like our followers, like a lot of our followers are our friends, but like people like maybe like out in like the Twitterverse probably have no idea who we are in person. I am the worst dancer ever. Like people like, but like I don't care. And like that's the funny thing about it. Like I don't care. It's truly great. But yes, I did pick that. It was, because I am. You got to dance it out. Dance it out. Alrighty. What's your dream job industry? Tech, beauty, fashion, jewelry, alcohol, marketing, or what's a job?
Yes,
I'm a little offended that sports isn't on here.
Yeah, but like, listen, I mean, your occupation is on here, so I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say you picked marketing.
That is what I picked. Let me
All
see.
right. Keep in mind the phrase dream job.
Dream job. Alcohol?
I picked alcohol.
Yeah. And not in like, not
see, Caitlin and I always like talk about that fantasy of like being in the Parent Trap and like
owning that winery.
Like owning a vineyard in like Napa or something like that. Like that's the dream, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was thinking big on this one. I did go with alcohol.
Oh, seriously. I would love to own a vineyard. Don't even get me started. Alrighty. How do you handle someone spreading a rumor about you? Hire a private investigator, confront them directly and loudly in front of everyone, pull them aside for a chat to see what the problem is, disengage, you don't have time for this drama, get a bit upset and hold a grudge, ask your friends for advice before doing anything, or start a rumor about them.
This is hard, but I would probably say you're going to take a page out of Meredith's book, not hire a private investigator, but I would say that you would disengage. You don't have time for this drama.
100 million %. I would say when I was younger, probably in college or maybe like a little bit earlier than that. Yell, just be a huge raging bitch. But I honestly, as I get older, like I don't have time for anything. Like, and drama, like especially a rumor. If you know something's not true about you, who gives a fuck? You move on. Yeah. People. It's really not a thing for me. I definitely do like disengaged for you as well, but I also do know that you love to come to me for advice on things, as I do love to go to you for advice as well. So I do want to go with asking for a friend.
I feel like I picked what I picked, and now that I'm sitting here, I'm like, wait, that's not really me.
Did you hire private investigator?
I picked pull them aside for a chat to see what the problem is, but actually, like,
no, you would not do that.
Yeah, Caitlin knows that
you don't like confrontation
at all whatsoever. So that is what I picked, and I'll stay with that because obviously I got my results the way I did. But now that I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, I'm a chicken. Shit. I wouldn't do that.
No.
So
I will pull them aside.
Disengage. I would probably disengage.
Yeah, just not worth it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I didn't like this. This has to be like a. Let me read
I think it was a British writer.
I was gonna say it has to be 100%. Yeah. So someone is slagging off your friend to your face. What do you do?
Which I think means like you're talking shit about. Yeah. Like somebody's talking shit about your friend.
Right. Defend my friend, obviously. Join in with the bitching and then deny it later. Storm off and go tell my friend. Let it go and move the conversation on. Throw a drink in their face.
I think you would pick defend my friend.
Absolutely. And I would do. And I wanted to like bring in other things. Like I wanted to bring in throw a drink in their face and storm off. Because like I would defend them, probably throw a drink in their face and then storm off. So yes, 100%. And I would give defend my friend to you as well.
And that is what I went with. Yes.
100%. Alrighty, so pick somewhere to go for dinner. A sushi restaurant, Taco Bell, a dimly lit romantic restaurant, the new bar that just opened, and there's nothing better than a family dinner at home.
This one was so hard because, as Lisa Barlow said, I love Taco Bell and I also love fine dining.
I loved, honestly, all the options. If I could do all of these options in one day, that would be phenomenal. That would be the best day ever.
We love to go to a nice romantic dinner, love to check out new spots, but I went with my old but true Taco Bell.
Oh, I know you love the Taco Bell. I was saying you
which I genuinely, I can't even remember the last time I had Taco Bell, but if you ask me what's my favorite fast food restaurant, it's going to be T-Bell.
I'm not a Taco Bell person, but I got to tell you, you and Chris should go to Taco Bell. He brings it up every day. Like you guys go, you have fun. I'm done with, I don't do the Taco Bell. I got like sick off it one time. So I think I'm like it's like one of those things that you just can't do. I put the new bar that just opened because I think that like we're in like, and we live in like different areas, but like New Jersey's always good with like having new restaurants open or a restaurant that I haven't been to. So like I'm always trying to like look for a spot that I've never been to before. So I definitely like doing that.
Okay. All right.
All right. Would you consider yourself high maintenance? No, I just have high standards. Yes, and proud of it. No, of course not. I only have a few demands. No, no, LOL. I am so from high maintenance. And it depends on the day, to be honest.
I think you're going to say, no, I just have high standards.
So I did consider that. And it's funny now that the answer I highlighted, I think I read it wrong. But I mean, it still makes sense. So I actually picked it depends on the day, to be honest. But I didn't read the on the day part. I just thought it depends because it really does depend for me. Like certain things, like I'm very high maintenance. And I think a lot of people know that for sure. But then there's also things like I'm like super cheap sometimes. Like I get very anxious about money and I'm like, I don't know if I can spend that. But then there's other things where I'm like, yes, like I need that. Or like I demand like high standard things from like friends, family, like things like that. So like, yeah, I think it depends. So maybe not on the day. It depends on the situation. So I'll say that.
Yeah.
Let me look for you. I don't think you're high maintenance from me just judging you. Let's see. Maybe no, of course not, but I only have a few demands. I really don't think you're high maintenance.
I considered that one, and but I didn't pick it. I don't really like how snobby this answer sounds, but I did put no, I just have high standards.
But I think that's a good thing.
I think I'm not like, I need this, I need that, do this for me, do that for me. But like, I definitely expect things to be like a certain way. I like things a certain way, but I'm definitely not like that snobby, high maintenance type of girl. There's a couple answers I could have picked for this one.
I think so too.
But overall, yes, I think you and I are not high maintenance.
No. All righty. This one's interesting. A fight is kicking off. Where are you? In the center, I started it. Fighting back and arguing my case. Walking away. I don't need this negativity. Trying to interject with tidbits of information or watching with snacks. I think this one is very dependent on the situation.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to say you said... Oh, and it might be walking away because you did just talk about disengaging, but I'm going to say that you're watching with snacks.
No, so actually, that's my least pick. I hate I hate confrontation for myself. If I have to be involved in it, like I will take
secondhand confrontation.
Oh my God, Katie, I have the worst secondhand embarrassment. Like something will happen to if I see someone trip on like a sidewalk. I'll think about it for the next 3 weeks about someone else. Like, I don't know what I think I need to see a therapist, to be honest. Cause it's so bad. Like I'll think about something like that happened to someone else for weeks. Like it had nothing to do with me. That's nothing funny. There. So fighting is one of them. Like whether it's just a verbal altercation or physical takes me to I need to exit this. I just don't like it. Makes me feel really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. But I mean, the situation is if I'm in the conflict, if I truly have to defend myself, I will, or my friends or my family, I will. But yes, I gotta walk away. I'm just not. It makes me really. I'm sweating thinking about it. It makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I want to say the same for you because you definitely don't like confrontation, but I could also see you eating the snacks because you're sipping the tea and just watching.
I'm Heather Gay in this situation. I'm watching with the snacks and I'm just I'm with my popcorn. I'm here for it as long as I'm not involved with it and I can sit back and kind of laugh or get a good look at what
Right.
I'm like, eat my food. Like I'm good. I'm watching with snacks.
Yeah. That was a funny one. Alrighty, so last one, and this one too. There's so many I wish you can like combined answers.
I know.
So what's most important to you? Money, family, loyalty, friends, fun, and love.
Yeah, I'm going to say that.
I want to take like the last 5 and put those together.
I'm going to say that you said family.
I did 100%. I mean, maybe this is like the Jersey coming out of me, probably coming out of you too. Because I'm going to say you're saying family as well. It's just how we were born and raised. And I know both of our families mean the world to us. Even people like extended family, bringing people in, like Katie and I, like we see each other as family. Like it's like that
I did pick family, and that's kind of like my loopholes because like, okay, love was one of the options. Well, my husband's my family, and I consider my friends my family. And so I loopholed that one, and I went with family.
Definitely a loophole. But yeah, no, that one was like, come on, like, what if I said money and threw you?
I would have been like, you're fucking a-hole.
Screw you all. I want the money.
You just told everybody you weren't high maintenance.
Just for money, people. But yeah, okay. So with that being said, all of the answers that we went through, Katie, who did you get?
I would have loved to be compared to this person in season 1, not so much in season 2. I am Miss Meredith Marks.
So am I. And for the audience to know, so the definition is that you are just like Meredith. You are chic, fashionable, with a hint of mystery. No one really knows where they stand with you, and that's the way you like it. You claim to hate drama, but you have no problem calling a private investigator if shit hits the fan. You can say difficult things, but can't hear it back, which is why you frequently disengage. So I will 100% disagree with that. I hate hearing bad things, but you got to take it like a man sometimes, people.
Ooh.
But
I'm a baby. I'll disengage before I have to hear anything bad.
But saying bad things is hard too. It's probably a little bit harder sometimes.
I'm going to disengage for both.
But yeah, so I 100% agree with you. I think last season I would have been so excited to have her as my like pick, but now I'm like pissed about it. I'm like, when I got it, I was like, I am not like Meredith.
Yeah.
No.
She's having a rough season. It's very hard for the Meredith lovers from season 1 to defend some of her actions in season 2.
I can't do it. And
this is why I tell Caitlin every week when I watch the episodes, I'm like, Heather Gay is my one and true constant. Like I can always count on her to just, be lovable Heather and not let me down.
I can't do it. I can't do it for the other people anymore. So, and I won't.
Yeah. But that was a fun game. Again, like that was, one of our housewife topics, but we threw in a little housewives game, which was fun. But now we are going to get into our true game of the night. And as you guys can expect, we've been doing it all of playoffs. Tonight we are playing What You Gotta Bring to Win That Ring. So like we've done for the ring playoffs, we take a look at the Super Bowl matchup for this weekend. We fill in the blanks for some game predictions. We do, if you've been with us, throughout the playoffs, some of these questions are the same, but we do have a couple bonus questions in there, which is nice. So it shakes things up a bit. But yeah, I can't wait to break this down with you, Kate. Let's just kick it right off. We obviously have number 4 Cincinnati Bengals versus also a number 4 seed Los Angeles Rams. Let's start it off. By the way, before we answer these, I'm calling this game Destiny versus Logic.
Okay.
So the reason I am calling it that is because, and this is why I had such a hard time picking, is because when a team gets hot in the postseason, I think it's the most dangerous and most scary thing you can come across.
That's a great point.
And I think that is the Cincinnati Bengals. So part of me says it is in their destiny to win the Super Bowl. But then when I look at the stats, I'm a stats girl. When I look at the stats and I write this out on paper and I look at it all, logic tells me to pick the Rams. So I picked the Rams. I'm going with logic over destiny, but let's break this down further.
All right.
The Bengals will win if blank.
They got to cause turnovers, and they got to cause turnovers early. They won against Tennessee because Tannehill had they had 3 interceptions against Ryan Tannehill. So, and they advanced on those. Stafford has 2 interceptions or 3 in the postseason so far, and Joe Burrow does too. But this Bengals defense, and the Bengals defense just won against Kansas City off 2 turnovers, which I called, by the way. I will just say. So basically, like, come on, like, you are so far a turnover machine. Let's keep it going in Super Bowl 56.
Yeah, this is my most like broad response for all of these. But again, the word destiny, fate, stuff like that. The Bengals will win if the Joe Burrow magic continues. This team lives and dies by they live and die by Joe Burrow. And honestly, they've made it this far because, you know, most of the time, majority of the time, he is out there absolutely killing it for them. And yeah, if they're gonna win this Super Bowl, it is going to be on the shoulders of Joe Burrow.
Absolutely.
The Rams will win if blank.
So they, in my opinion, they need to score every quarter of this game. They did not score in every quarter versus the Niners. They found themselves playing a bit of catch up. Yeah. And I believe, I'm trying to track back, I don't think they scored in every game against the Bucs. Excuse me, not every game, every quarter against the Bucs. But what I need is a hot start from the Rams. So they need to, and listen, 13 minutes, you know, or however long a quarter is, 12 minutes, I don't know. Yeah. You might seem like that's a long time, but they did it so far in the postseason in every quarter. So to me, they can't be playing catch up. They got to score, whether it's you got 3 points or you get 6 or 7. So 6, 7, or 8, I guess. They got to score. So,
yeah. So remember when I said on paper, I like the Rams in this matchup? Well, this is the main reason why. The Rams will win if they take advantage of Cincinnati's poor offensive line and force turnovers. I think that matchup of Aaron Donald and Von Miller company against that offensive line is going to be bad for Cincinnati. So, but now I'm saying you got to force turnovers. So Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times versus Tennessee in the playoffs, yet they still won that game. Right. So you can sack him all you want, but you need to get a turnover to out of those sacks, you know, force a fumble, hit him while he's throwing and force an interception. That will be the key to the game for the Rams. All right. The quarterback with the most passing yards will be blank.
So this is just based off stats from the postseason so far. So I am taking a logical approach here, like, you know, you probably are. So I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford because he does have the higher passing yards, you know, average so far between him and Joe Burrow. But also, too, you kind of look who he's passing to. And while Jamar Chase is, you know, insane, you look like guys Cooper Kupp, Odell has been, you know, pumping out lately too. So I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford on this one.
I went with Matthew Stafford as well. And Joe Burrow he's going to be right up there with him. I think these guys are going to air it out, both of them. And I kind of just think me picking the Rams, I was like, you know, it's got to be off of a big game from Matthew Stafford too. So that's why I went with him. The running back with the most rushing yards will be blank.
I think it'll be a big run game for them. And I am going to go on the side of Cincinnati. I'm going to go with Joe Mixon. I've been very pleased with what I've seen with him so far in the postseason. Very pleased with what I saw with him in the regular season. So I think, again, with what you had just said before with, you know, LA's defense against a poor offensive line, Joe Burrow might not have that time to sit back in the pocket and make really sharp plays to guys like Jamar Chase. That handoff, that quick handoff to Mixon might be, you know, make or break for them and really save the day. So again, I think he's going to have another breakout game. So I'm going with Joe Mixon on this one.
I went with Mixon as well. You got great players in Cam Akers and Sony Michel for the Rams. They're going to have to split carries, and I think that kind of opens up the door for, you know, Joe Mixon to lead across the board in rushing yards. The wide receiver with the most receiving yards will be blank. We got 2 big yard monsters in
I know
Jamar Chase. Odell's been putting up big numbers. So who do you got on this one?
It's just really hard to pick against Cooper Kupp, and like I really can't. So like I'm going with Cooper Kupp on this one.
Yeah. Every time I try to get cute with it and say, "Oh, it's not going to be Cooper Kupp every week," it's Cooper Kupp every week.
I can't.
I'm going with Cooper Kupp. The most impressive defensive player of the game will be blank.
I'm going to go with Aaron Donald. He's hungry for a ring, 100%. And like you had just said, with that weaker offensive line from Cincinnati, he can plow right through it. And it's not even him just plowing through it as like the monster that he is. He now has other people in the defensive unit that are going to help him clear that space, push that offensive line over. So their D line is pushing those people away. And that just gives him more room to run up, get Burrow, get any other guy. So if Burrow is kind of, maybe someone else is trying to block him, do something like that, Aaron Donald can make other plays. It's not just on the quarterback. He's very versatile. So he's hungry. I think he's going to do big things.
He's hungry. The man's going to eat. I'm going with Aaron Donald. The MVP of the game will be blank.
So obviously I'm going in Cincinnati's direction to win the game. So I'm going to give it, honestly, there is as much as we've seen outstanding years from Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, even, a couple other guys. It's Joe Burrow. You can't not give MVP to him.
Yeah, we're going to keep it vanilla over here. MVP of the game for me, picking the Rams to win. I'm going with Matthew Stafford. The team that will score first will be blank.
It's going to be the Rams, and I am actually committing here. They have to score first. If they actually want to stay in this game, they are the first ones to put up points on the board. So
I think it's going to be the Rams too. I think they are capable of getting off to a hot start. We have seen the Bengals as well as they've played. We've seen them down in games before. And I feel like the Rams are going to come out hot on this one. The team that causes the most turnovers will be blank.
I said they had to do it to win the game. And I'm going to go with Cincinnati on this one. So they have to do it to win. And I think they are going to do it.
And I said they had to do it to win the game. I am going with the Rams. The halftime score will be blank.
I think Cincinnati will be up at halftime 13-10.
All right. I am going with a halftime score of 17-10 Rams. And then the final score of the game will be blank.
It will be a close one for sure. Only a couple more points scored in the second half. I'm going with 27-24 Cincinnati.
All right. I kept it very close as well, but a little bit higher. I'm going with 31-27 Rams.
It's gonna be a good one. It better be a good one. That's all I have to say.
I think it will be. I think I do see it. I mean, look at how dead split everybody is on this game. I hope it showcases that way on Sunday, where we're seeing a really good tight game.
Yeah, I hope so.
Nothing worse than these Super Bowls where they're just blowouts. There's nothing worse.
No.
It's been a while since we've kind of seen that. But when it happens, it's so bad. So
right. All righty. Well, it is that time of the episode where we get it off our chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, wine, life. It's February, so Valentine's Day, love. Anything that you want to talk about, what do you got for us?
Ooh, I don't got much, but I guess maybe I just feel like we should collectively mention that definitely bummed about the departure of Patrick Graham.
God, I'm so bummed.
Obviously, we were trying not to keep it biased when we talk about the hirings or the firings or whatever. Like, obviously, the Giants have hired a new defensive coordinator in Wink Martindale from the Ravens, and I like him and everything.
Very excited, yeah.
But Caitlin and I were very much so under the impression that Patrick Graham was keeping his job as defensive coordinator. I think the part that stings is he's going to the Raiders as defensive coordinator. Yeah. It's not like he left us for a head coaching job, which I honestly thought was going to be the only reason that we lost him and that we parted ways with him. So that's a bummer. And just to keep it short and simple, I did want to just recognize it and put it out there and say that we were big Patrick Graham fans and we're really going to miss him. And we honestly, no hard feelings, wish him the absolute best of luck in Las Vegas. And we'll miss you.
Yeah, I'm so bummed. It was one of those things where I literally because they said he was staying. So like I tweeted out, like, I'm so happy Patrick Graham is staying. And then 2 days later, he's off to the Raiders. I literally like quote tweeted and I was just like pain, period. Like, wow. Yeah. Like makes me feel so good. But everything that you just said, Katie, like, hats off to him. Like, thanks for everything. Like, it was great. Like, I loved our defense under Patrick Graham. I loved that the Giants interviewed him as, head coach potential.
Yes.
And, the shitty thing is with that too, is that when I saw like the post that they had made, that they were interviewing him, I was like, oh, good. And I was like, yeah, I love that. Like, I really, he deserved it. And then, like, you see the commentary, like, oh, Rooney Rule and all this stuff. And I was like, that just like really brings me down. Cause like, I in nowhere in shape or form was thinking that. I was like, I love that the Giants interviewed him for head coach, and like, whatever case.
Some Giants fans could even argue, as much as even in Patrick Graham fans could have argued, like, we love Patrick Graham, we want to keep him. But I mean, at least me, and I think a lot of other Giants fans were like, we need an offensive mind to come in at head coach.
No, absolutely. I really did appreciate the Giants interviewing him.
Yes,
though.
like you said, it was well deserved.
Absolutely. And like, I would have loved for him to be our head coach. Like, I would have accepted that, if they made that decision, like 100%. Like, I loved everything that he did for us. So definitely best of luck. No hard feelings whatsoever. Yeah. It's always sad. So it's like seeing a bunch of other guys, like it's like seeing like Steve Spagnuolo like on the side of the Chiefs. Like, it makes you sad.
I wish he succeeds so much that in a year or two or whenever he does get a head coach.
100%. Absolutely. But yeah, so I definitely echo everything that you said. Thank you there. I'm so bummed about it, but I do understand the NFL is a business. So clearly the Raiders offered him probably more, offered him something that he wanted a little bit more. And again, this is a business. This is his career. So he needs to do what's best for him, his family, everything like that. So I 100% get it. So mine is short and sweet and to the point, but the Manning brothers, Eli and Peyton, on their ESPN broadcast Monday Night Football, Peyton and Eli, has been extended until 2024. So Adam Schefter did report this today, a couple of hours before the show, and I saw it. I was so happy. They are making our Monday Night Football so much better, people. And
they have changed the Monday Night Football game for me. They really have. I can't even tell you how many times, 100%. Depending on just like, oh, that's a boring matchup, where I just skip the Monday Night Football game.
No, seriously. You guys know me. I'm skipping the Monday Night Football matchups because I'm tired. Now I want to go to bed. Not with Peyton and Eli. I'm watching in, and it's a new... Well, it's not a new type of like media. Like, other sports have like attempted it, but it's that like, I can't really explain it, but it's like an alternate viewing of sports. So Eli and Peyton are literally the showcase of it. And then the NFL game is secondary, which is wild. It is the Monday night game.
But
it's secondary.
If you do put it on sometimes, you also just put it on as like background noise. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now when I have it in the background and I'm just listening to those two talk with the game being in the background, I love that because they're entertaining as hell.
Absolutely. They did a great job fielding guests week after week.
Yes.
Their conversations, like, Eli and Peyton they're great together because they're brothers. They obviously were both NFL quarterbacks. So their knowledge of each play is also phenomenal.
Course, yeah.
So like, I got to tell you, like, if you're not that familiar with football, like, you should watch the Nickelodeon thing first, probably, but then watch Peyton and Eli second, because they really do like bring it back. But then they're also bringing on people that are not all football, like NFL people. And they're asking them like, oh, what would you think of that? What would you do here? Right. They're just fans of the game. And
they had really phenomenal guests, like all of them. They really did.
Absolutely. So I'm so excited. Extended to 2024. So we get them for more Monday night games. So that means Caitlin's staying up late Monday, people.
Woo!
Maybe just a halftime. I told
you throughout the season too, like on games, like we ended up, who'd we play? Kansas City and Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football games this year. I was like, we're going to get slaughtered. At least I can listen to Eli break down a New York Giants game. I never thought I'd be able to see that.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully that's not the case next year. So I'm not trying to look to get slaughtered, but so it's just great. I'm so excited. And what a success story for them just to come out and try something new. Clearly it was, I remember like the weeks that they were off air and like the people that were complaining.
It's terrible.
We complained about it, but so good. But yes, very, very excited about that.
Absolutely. when you I didn't, you like you said, this broke a couple of hours ago. I didn't know about it yet. So when you told me, I was very excited. So thank you for mentioning it. We're looking forward to that. And then things we are looking forward to this week. We have Real Housewives of Orange County on tonight at 9 o'clock. There is no Salt Lake City on this Sunday. Of course, it is Super Bowl, so I'm going to assume that that's the reason why. I'm going to say a lot of TV shows that air on Sundays are not going to be airing this Sunday. New Jersey, we had episode number 2 last night. I wasn't able to watch it just yet. Going to catch it on demand, but they're going to be on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. The NFL Honors, that is going to be on tomorrow at 9 p.m. on ABC. Stay tuned to our Instagram page, Twitter. Like we try to post the winners when we see them come up. And then, of course, Super Bowl 56. That is on Sunday at 6:30. Hope we get a good game. Hope you guys, hang with friends, family, eat some good football food. Hopefully we get some good commercials, a good halftime show. Yes. Good juju all around. So everybody enjoy. We will see you next week. We'll maybe tease a couple of things this upcoming week about what next week's episode is.
Yeah, we can't tell them, but you guys, next episode is going to be really good. So we can't tell you next week yet, but it's going to be really, really good. So
so countdown to that as well. We'll catch you next week.
All right. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Real Football Fans of New Jersey. Goodbye.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.